All right, here we go on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. Jonathan Howe, Travis Cunningham on episode. Are we on 28? 28, right? Did
Correct.
I skip 20? Yeah, okay. I'm always testing you because I'm testing myself with these. Yeah. So who do you think of for the number 28?
I'm going to go with the Lampman family, Jim and Donnie.
Very nice. Good picks. Good picks. I like that. I'm going to shout out Mitch Dumont in the iconic SOS Towing
Ooh.
28. I like that. That was a sharp looking
Yeah.
car, and Mitch had a pretty decent season in that 28 car, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to get the old sportsman figured out. And yeah, another one I thought of was Todd Gordon. He's currently 28. When I raced against him, he was number triple X, and then he was number 1 for a while after that. So he's had a bunch of numbers. He's currently 28. So he's also been 8A, like Canadian EH. And yeah, Sparky's had a lot of numbers, or a rainbow, whatever you want to call him. Todd Gordon
Nice.
as well. Currently 28.
That Blue Moon Potatoes 28 ride with the flames on it. Pretty cool. Pretty badass looking ride.
And yeah, Flash's dad as well. A combo of them two is definitely got to happen on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Flash and old Todd.
We're going to start working on these combo episodes and family episodes this summer, or this winter, I should say. It's Australian summer.
Yep.
Where are we going to start? I think we got to start right off the hop with that. I was on a couple, what was it? I think it was either last episode or maybe the episode before. We were talking about Matt Shepard and how much money he's won, and I sit here and I'm like, is he stealing Money Matt's nickname? Is he the new Money Matt? And then Mat Williamson had to shut me up and go and win 25 grand down at Georgetown.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because literally before he won the 25 grand at Georgetown, I was watching Flow Racing and the broadcast hasn't started yet, so I was scrolling through their featured video things. They do nice little 3-minute videos on the race or a driver, or they got so much little stuff that comes extra than just the live races. It's so awesome. Anyway, they did one on with Matt, and he literally said in the interview, "I'm no money Matt right now. I'm out of money. It's all gone. Everything I've won's gone." Called himself No Money Matt in the interview, and then went out and won the race for 25 grand at Georgetown for the Melvin Joseph Memorial. It was called Short Track Super Series, and he was in the Barron's number 3, and that car definitely needed that win. Definitely struggling a bit in that car throughout the summer, and they didn't really know what was going on. So pick up a win for Matt in that one for 25 grand. Rolling into Charlotte, which is about to go green tonight at the World Finals. He's starting 3rd, but yeah, it was an awesome battle. First, it started. Where did Matt start? Yeah, he started 2nd, finished 3rd in his heat. Got lucky, drew the outside pole, and then Mike Mahaney, he finished 4th in his heat and drew the pole. And then guys that won their heats like Matt Shepard and Perego and Friesen, they drew kind of far back. So just goes to show you about the redraw kind of stuff. But anyway, Mahaney and Williamson were on the front row, and them two traded slide jobs for the first. Oh man, I don't want to say over 3/4 of the race. It was Mahaney led, and then Matt ran him down because they had a little bit of green flag run to start, and then so got by him, and then there was a yellow, and then on the restart, Mahaney got back by Matt, and these two were having these two cannot get away from each other after they had that run in at Brewerton, and Matt called them pots and pans in victory lane. It seems like the rest of the season, those two have been bumper to bumper the whole race, and then they were doing it for the lead at Georgetown just to add to the spiciness and race fans' dream, if you ask me. But anyway, Mahaney gets the lead off the first restart, and at that point, I was watching with my mom, who I want to say thanks to all the happy birthday wishes from my mom on Facebook. I meant to say it last week, but I'm saying it this week, a week late. Thanks to everybody for doing that. She loved it. She literally liked everyone herself, learning social media. Anyway, back to the race. Mahaney gets the lead off the restart. I literally turned to my mom at that point and say, I guarantee you Matt Williamson has a harder tire on than Mahaney, because on the restart, Mahaney fired off and was able to slide up in front of him in turn 1, then check out a bit. And Matt had a harder time running him down, and then didn't actually get the lead back at that point, had to rely on another yellow. And then another yellow comes out, and Matt slides him back. And then I think there was another restart, same kind of thing. And then Mahaney slid him, and then Matt slid him back again, got the thing. And then Mike Mahaney eventually blew it off the end in 3 and 4 and took himself out of the contention a little bit, slid back to 5th there. But then Shepard, Mr. Money this year, anyway, comes up. And then it was Shepard and Friesen on Matt's butt for the last couple of restarts. And yeah, the hard tire was nice and hot by the end of the race, and he wasn't have quite as much struggles on the restarts. as he was earlier, and was able to hold off Super Matt and Stu the Shoe, two of the best in the business. And there you go, Money Matt, 25,000 to win. And he's been struggling on the road this year a little bit. He has one win at Accord and Ransomville, which isn't really. I think he has one at Volusia too. So for Matt, that's struggling. 4 wins. You know
No,
what I
yeah.
mean? For Matt, that is he will
Funny?
admit it. He admits it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then, like,
oh, you could kind of even tell, like coming back locally through the summer, he kind of appreciated all those victories he was able to rack up at Maryville because he knows that wasn't having was not that he was having no success, but he definitely was not having the same success that maybe we would expect. Yeah, from I don't even know. I don't even want to say expect because the thing that I've learned the more and more I cover the dirt racing world is just how good and how many great drivers there are across all divisions. All like we talked about, I think it was last week. We were talking about Oshweekend and we caught up with DJ Christie last week. We were going to talk to Baily Heard. These are two really good drivers who are up and coming, and then they couldn't crack the top 10 in points. Like DJ was in 10th in points, and you just look at all the heavy hitters ahead of him in points, like in terms of that sprint car series. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Doug Leonard, our race director, and track owners Don and Lorraine Spees. We're starting to talk about some of the awards that are going to be handed out at the upcoming Maryville Speedway Awards banquet, and it was we really had a hard time picking some of the awards, and voting on some of the stuff that weren't just stat based because you know most improved driver. There was tons of improvement throughout the field. A lot of guys got better this year. It just yeah, the dirt racing world is incredibly competitive, and so for Mat Williamson to get back in victory lane, win a big check, good for him. Hopefully, that gives him all kinds of confidence heading into Charlotte, which he has been fast. I watched the heat a little earlier in the night, and he's like I said, starting third. So we'll see how he ends up going there. Something else that I wanted to get into, we talked about Maryville. How about your home track, Oshweekend Speedway? Some news there and some work being done.
yeah, looks like so like back in 2019, I meant to watch Clint's video that he posted. I just saw them moving dirt around, but I didn't listen to what he said like a dummy. But anyway, back in 2019, they put some dirt on the infield on the track, and the track's been kind of dusty since. And a lot of people like say it hasn't been like the old Oshweekend. So from what I hear, I'm thinking they're getting a little bit of new clay, going to put it on, scraping the old stuff off, going to do a little bit different. They've got the inside wall tore out. I'm hearing maybe a full concrete inside wall instead of the blocks, more like the outside wall, like a full consistent thing instead of the blocks, which if they get hit and then move a little bit, becomes a little bit dangerous. And then, yeah, so like always, Oshweekend Speedway doing improvements, and me and the boys were working on the car, getting ready to go next year. And as soon as we saw that, like I sent it to them, and yeah, we all like, is it May yet? Can't wait to get back, and they're always improving it up there, and I'm sure it'll be great if they can get the cushion back just a little bit. Oh man, like it was back on the last couple nights at the Nationals, and it was a couple of my most favorite nights of the year, and I know a lot of other people thought the same way.
So, to you, beyond just the cushion, what does it mean to get back to old Oshweekend in your opinion?
Uh, well, sometimes old Oshweekend could be bad too. Like this year, we didn't have very many rough nights. Like, whereas sometimes in my rookie year, like it could be insanely rough and like 20 tear offs a night and go through all of them. Whereas this year, you could put 10 tear offs on and go through 2 nights. But like literally, my first year, some nights it would be so heavy, like stack 30 on there and pray to God you don't run out. And like you're literally just pulling them the whole way, dollar, $30 in tear offs a night, like crazy. But yeah, but sometimes like they get it perfect, and like I always say, there'd be a little bit of bite on the bottom, slick to a little bit of a curb, nothing treacherous. Where if you're going to hit it, you got to worry about getting flipped into the trees. That I mentioned, people that aren't there anymore. Like the trees used to be there in 3 and 4, now it's the wall and stuff. But like that used to be all trees. Like it's just so different now. Like the pictures you see from early Ash Week, especially back in '96, or even from when I started back in 2009, or when I first started going there. I think my first race I ever watched there was ESS in 2005, and I think Jeff Van Dusen won. Jay Z was leading, and then I think got a flat or something. Jessica Zemkin, and it was one of the best races I've ever seen. And ever since, I'm like, man, I got to race here.
Well, I think, I'm always optimistic. I always optimistic that these tracks are going to get it right. They know what they're doing more times than they don't. You have some plans as well for anybody who follows Travis or sees Travis's posts on Facebook. New car for next year.
Yeah, it's like been sitting around for like, I think I picked it up last April, and then I've just been working on, like last year I had a pretty good decent run running all the short tracks, and I finished 6th in KOT points, and I was feeling pretty good going into this year. So I was kind of like, let's just try this car for this year. And then I kind of regret doing it now because this car's probably a little bit better for us week and a little bit longer. And yeah, but
So is
I
the
also don't
plan
want
going
to
to
say,
be?
yeah,
Go
what?
ahead. I was just going to
I
say,
was,
so is the plan going to be going short track with one car and then uh, some of the bigger tracks with the other car, or is the old car being retired and you're going everywhere with this one?
well, the old car is currently stripped down to frame and body, and I'm thinking about selling it. Might see a post that coming up. And yeah, the plan for next year, I definitely hit Oshweekon on Fridays because all the crew loves it, and who wouldn't want to go there every Friday? And it's not like I'm knocking the way the track was this year. I love when it gets smooth and slick too. But like some nights it was blown off in hot laps, and that's when people sometimes, like I saw a couple fans on the broadcast saying bring the cushion back and stuff like that. Like to me, you don't want dusty slick in the heat. Like you want it to be heavy in hot laps, blow off a bit for the heat where it's still, so to make it racy where it's not just wide open, but like still a bit of bite so it's not dusty for the fans. And then come feature time, little bit of cushion on the top, nice little bit on the brown on the bottom, nice and slick through the middle, and that usually works out for the best dirt racing nights, in my opinion.
And I think one of the more, um, I don't want to use you say the term jarring, but the thing that caught me about your post is one of the final lines here where you say, I can see Oshweekon having 30 plus 360s next year every week. So we better get this new car dialed in. 30 plus 360s every single week at Oshweekon. Uh, and it's possible. I mean, looking at the point standings, there was 42 different drivers who made starts, and looks like at least 24 drivers who made 7 appearances or more in at Oshweekon for the Cool Kids Core Pack sprints. So wild to think. That's such a healthy car count. You got to really shout out Oshweekon and Clinton Jeffries and everybody who's been responsible for kind of the health of sprint car racing north of the border here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was messaging Sheridan this week saying like, man, we could get to a point where like the 360s and the crates have the same number because like so many guys like I was talking about this at work too. Like sometimes the dirt sportsmen, like if we want to compare like dirt sportsmen to modifieds, like the dirt sportsmen big guys, like a lot of times don't move up. Like this year we saw Rouse move up and got the one win and did a good job and stuff like that. Next year he wants to move up just to modified, but some of his family wants him to keep the sportsman as well. But anyway, but like a lot of times you don't see the big sportsman guys move up to modified. Sometimes you do exceptions, Mat Williamson, but like Matt struggled in sportsman. I don't want to say struggled, like, but like not as dominant as in modified, not even close. He'll even tell you that. But and then Mike Bowman was good in sportsman, moved up. But a lot of times you don't see the good sportsman drivers moving up to modified, whereas a lot of times in crates they always move up. That's kind of the difference I've been noticing between the two classes. And yeah, that's where I am on that. And then back to my season, other than Oshweekon, just gonna, I don't know if the KOT is gonna still be around. Definitely gonna try to hit most of those. And yeah, I went and watched Utica Rome during Dirt Week, which we talked about, and definitely got me Jones in the race a little bit over there. So definitely watch for me to hit some Canandaigua and Utica Rome and Fulton kind of stuff, closer ones in the Syracuse area because I love the Syracuse area.
Nice.
Who doesn't?
Go win some American money.
Yep. That's the thing, like Joe Plazik said, you're nobody unless you've won in the States.
Well, I think you're gonna have a good. I'm positive. I got an optimistic viewpoint for you in 2023. Optimism for Oshweekon in 2023. Talking about spring car racing south of the border, kind of touched on what Matt is doing down at the World Finals, but just wanted your take on the weekend going into the World Finals for the sprints down there, the World of Outlaws. I was reading, it seems like most World of Outlaws fans kind of think that it's all over but the crying. It's Brad Sweet's title to lose, and uh, I just wanted your take on it.
Yeah, definitely a pretty decent tight World of Outlaws sprint car battle. But I want to say I'm literally watching the Super Dark Car Series at Charlotte right now. We're recording Thursday night. This is the first night for the modifieds down there. And this is a Southern Ontario dirt show, and we've got two locals up front. Eric Rudolph is currently leading with Mat Williamson chasing him down, 0.25 seconds behind him with 13 laps to go. So I always say this, our area is loaded with talent. It's been like that since the 70s. Davey Moore, Pete Bicknell, Brian Steven, like Matt, millions of people. Like, it is crazy. Pavement side as well. Junior Hanley, like, hello. Like, just crazy amount of talent in this area. One of the most talented regions in the world, if you ask me. And we don't get the credit.
No, we really don't.
Because, no.
I want like Pete or like Joe Plosick, someone of our local legends to go and do like the Dale Jr. download. I think Pete's due for one. I think he could. I think we need to start like a petition to get Pete on there next year.
Joe would be a great on the Dale Jr. download. I'm sure Dale Jr.'s heard of both of them.
I was gonna say because they've had like
they would both be great.
They've had like I'm pretty sure he's had Rudiman on, and so he's had the dirt guys on in the past. So I think it's time. I think it's time for one of our local guys to go down and represent in a big way like that. But something else.
Okay, back to what you asked me.
Go for it.
We asked about the sprint cars.
Yes,
remember?
That's right.
Williamson just took the lead, 9 to go.
Nice.
Anyway, so yeah, World of Outlaws sprint cars are like last night they had a race and Brad Sweet finished second, was able to beat Brad's David Gravel, so that kind of made the points back to minus 22. So Gravel's definitely going to need a little bit of help. Going to have to beat Sweet by quite a few, not quite a few, but like 5 or 6 positions both nights. So it's definitely not out of the question, but that Napa 49s only broke down once out of the last 201 races. So
yeah,
odds aren't really in your favor of getting some luck.
For sure. But you never know what could happen. So I guess there's a reason to be tuned in, and party still on for Saturday night.
Exactly. Yeah. My buddy Steve's house.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
We'll get together, watch those World Finals.
Right down the road from you. So we're going to be good to go. We got chicken wings, and we might do some Merrittville BBQ.
Nice.
Chicken wings for sure.
Sweet. And I wanted to end off with, we talked about some racing south of the border. I want to take it to asphalt for 1 second. Did you see Ross Chastain's move?
Oh, I certainly did. I've never seen my mom. That's the hardest my mom's laughed in quite a while. Like, she just couldn't. We all both couldn't believe what we saw. And yeah, there's so many angles to it and opinions.
I was listening on the radio, so I kind of I didn't see the video until about 10 minutes after the race had finished, and people were talking about a video game move and him sending it in there. But that literally didn't look real. I have never seen a car go by other race cars at speed with that much of a speed differential. It was insane to see. Now, obviously, that is a move that is just not possible in pretty much all forms of dirt racing. Like maybe even in a street stock, you would have to have a track like that. And I think even a street stock, it's just, you would just end up tearing open the car like a can opener. So, but in terms of NASCAR and that move, are you with some of the drivers who think it's embarrassing, to quote Kyle Larson, and some drivers have been calling for it to be outlawed?
Definitely wouldn't call it embarrassing. God, definitely no one thought of doing like I've done that in video games before. One time I was playing with my buddies and spun out at New Hampshire, and then literally did that to get back through the field with the last 5 laps and beat them, and then laughed in their faces. And then Chastain did it in real life. It's just totally insane. But definitely NASCAR is definitely going to make a move. In my opinion, Martinsville is the only place that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like people say maybe Richmond, but Richmond, they're probably still carrying close to 100 miles an hour through the corners. But in like Bristol, their corner speeds are still up pretty high. Mat Williamson just won at Charlotte, by the way. Congrats, Matt, 2 in a row. When he gets hot, he's hot. Yeah. Anyway, so Bristol, that's another short track. Like I said, corner speeds are up. And then all the big tracks, like that's not going to work. No. There's no way. They're taking way too much speed on the bottom. So to me, Martinsville is the only place that's going to work. So do they leave it and let it go at Martinsville, and then the next race, 30 cars hit the wall in the last lap? Or they're probably going to make a rule about it. They're going to leave it for this week, let someone try it at Phoenix for the excitement value of it, and then make a rule in the offseason. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think they'll try something and try to legislate it somehow. But even still, like I've heard interviews with Ross Chastain, and he was like, "So would you recommend other people try this movie?" He's like, "Honestly, no. That really, really hurt. I didn't love that feeling, and it's not something I would do again if I had the choice not to." So, but it's an all-time highlight. It's a really fun thing. It was really, really cool, and I think everybody's got to relax a little bit. I don't think it's embarrassing. I think it's just a racer doing everything he
It's definitely
needs.
not embarrassing. Larson, like, yeah, he's tried that, and
Yeah,
like he was. I'm a big Kyle Larson fan, but he's been wearing me out a little bit lately. It's like, come,
he's got some interesting
just be
opinions.
yourself, man. Yeah, he's definitely, yeah. I'm a Larson fan, but lately I've been like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with Kyle.
I mean, like, I like
anyway,
all Hendrick drivers and usually anybody with a Chevrolet bow tie on the front of the car, but I was only a little bit miffed after Watkins Glen when he ran Chase wide. So, and Larson just always finds himself in the drama somehow, one way or another. Um, before we get
it's
to
like
our
he
interview,
likes it. I
before we
think
get to Baily Heard, there was one other thing we need to touch on. So I did mention on the podcast last week in the BRP Racing League, the iRacing League, that we're going to get our own race. And it sounds like now we're actually going to get two races because we've decided to take that Weed Sport date that's on your birthday and we're going to have it as a Gary Cunningham Memorial vintage or virtual race. So honoring your dad and honoring the Cunningham Racing legacy on your birthday, no less. So that's going to be awesome. But I think we want to do a second one. I think we're going to do a second Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast race. And I've got four options that were given to me from the Beef, I-55, Knoxville, Port Royal, and Lernerville. So I'm going to put it up on our Instagram story as soon as this podcast drops, which will be Friday morning. If you're listening to this, hopefully you're already downloading it as soon as it came out and can participate in this. But I'm going to throw it up on our Instagram story, and you're going to be able to find and vote on that. And of course, the handle again, sods_pod at sods_pod, SODS_POD. And you will be able to find and vote on that in the Instagram story. And whichever one gets the most votes, that is the track that we're going to sponsor a race for. And depending on the track, it's going to be different lap lengths. I believe I-55 was
probably 100.
I think it was 100. Knoxville, I think, was 75. Port Royal, I think, is 75. And I think Lernerville might have been 90, 100. I don't remember. We'll get those numbers.
They're all got an extra length.
I'm really tempted to call it the Dirty McDirt Race. Whatever. Dirty McDirt Race 75, powered by the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. But we'll see if that comes to fruition. But either way, go vote on that on the Instagram stories. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, vote on that for the BRP modified series. But I've also toyed with the idea of like maybe throwing up $50 of my own money or something like that and trying to get like a Southern Ontario shootout where we can do like a sprint car race and a modified race, not on a Monday. And then, be a little pay race.
Like a double?
Yeah, sprints and mods.
Ooh, interesting.
Maybe 25 to win both, 10 for second. I don't know. Who knows? Or we could get sponsors and make it a little bit more. Because like sometimes I see some crazy money iRaces. It's insane. And then, talk about your experience announcing your first iRace.
You know what?
Which I finished 6th in.
Yeah.
Tyler Pachelski won our BRP tune-up race. There's only 10 of us. Like once it gets going, there's going to be like almost 30 of us. It's going to be insane, like a normal race night. But it was a good little 10-car warm up.
I'm glad I got the warm up personally. That was a good experience. A good amount of racing. Like I was impressed with the quality of racing. Like I didn't really feel like I was calling a virtual race. If anything, it just felt like I was calling modifieds off a monitor. Like I was watching back like a G-Force broadcast and calling it that way. But Joe, my co-host there, he is a great co-host. He's running all the graphics. He's the one making the series look slick on the television. I'm just trying to provide my insight. So shout out Joe B. And I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be an awesome time. I'm super stoked that I got involved with this, and I appreciate Beef and everybody asking me to come on board. And honestly, even if I wasn't announcing it, just being in the Discord chat and hearing some of you guys pop off, like Travis Miller Light, got a shout out him. Uh, I was literally
Yeah.
I was literally in the Discord while he was getting his computer like worked out. I'm not gonna. I can't explain all
You
of the.
heard all
Oh,
that?
I can't explain all the details, but yeah, that was pretty entertaining stuff from Travis Miller Light.
Yeah.
Which, how am I going to work that into a broadcast? By the way, we were talking about this today. How some of you guys are giving your nicknames and stuff to use during broadcasts today in our little production meeting we had for the iRacing League. And they're like, "Yeah, Travis wants to go by Miller Light. How are you going to work that into a broadcast?" And I just thought, I'm like, well, if he's
That works good because there's two Travises. He can just be Miller Light.
well, I was thinking, Travis, if he's running towards the back of the pack, he's Miller Light on power for that night.
No, I can guarantee you Travis Miller won't be running near the back of the pack in the BRPI Racing Series. That's a fact. Yeah. He sold his rig to, not his rig, but like his computer to Jordan Costco, who's going to race this year too. So yeah, he's just been waiting on getting a new computer. And sure enough, just like a typical racer waits till the last minute. And yeah, he'll be joining us.
Awesome. Somebody else who's going to be joining us, Baily Heard, on the show. Good to have another Niagara Falls voice on the show. This is going to be awesome. And we're looking forward to having Baily Heard join us next. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Want to support the Southern Ontario Dirt Show and help us expand our coverage across the province and Western New York? Well, your ad could be playing right here. Got a brand or business that deserves more attention? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com, to become a sponsor of the podcast. And now, let's get back to the show. And we are back on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. Jonathon Howe, Travis Cunningham, and we're joined by Baily Heard. Baily, we have been trying to track you down, and you've been elusive, but schedules haven't worked out, but we appreciate you finally getting on with us now. It's been great to watch you all season long, and great to catch up with you, and catch up with one of the guys who you really have to work hard to put together a team and put together a run, and you're kind of similar to Travis like that. You know, there's not a ton of big money behind you, and we appreciate having the low buck guys on every once in a while to talk about their experience as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, just since the very beginning, we kind of just been working out of the shed in the backyard and with carts and everything, and then kind of just climbed the ladder and eventually got up the sprints, and then kind of just kept on going, and then ended up getting the 360 motor through a good friend, Tom Hoopinen, obviously, and here we are. So it's been a lot of fun, and couldn't ask for more, really. So.
Yeah. You just smashed off all the stuff I was going to ask you about. Talk more about the shed, man. Like your dad has it like lined up. It is organized. Like I have a huge shop, but like not huge, but I have like a 2-side shop, but it's like nowhere near as organized as your shed. Like not even close. I like talk about your dad and the organization.
Yeah, it's huge compared to this thing for sure. But no, it's just it's a 10x10 or 10x12 shop with a poured concrete floor, and it's basically just enough for the car to basically sit in the garage, and just enough room with the roller stands to roll it around and do what we need to do to it. It's got all the parts and everything all hanging up on the walls, and all the spares and all that stuff is perfectly aligned from from dad being over organized, let's say. So it's got it
I'm
all, that's
jealous
for
on
sure.
that.
Yeah, so
Yeah. We can call it Bubbles Motorsports or the little shop that's got it all, basically.
yeah, exactly. Well, they like to call it a shoebox shop because that's all it could fit is a shoe. So
Yep.
but yeah.
And I love that you're a Niagara Falls guy like myself. So now I'm like, I'm gonna be watching for the shed. I'm gonna be watching to see if like if I'm driving down the road, if I'm randomly gonna hear the sound of a sprint car coming out of somebody's backyard or something.
Yeah, we try to keep it down with the noise, but I mean, obviously, we haven't started on the streets yet, but who knows? Maybe someday we'll have to wake up the neighbors and get them looking outside or something. I'm sure they do already. So
if you win a track championship one day, I am gonna petition the city to make sure you can take that thing down Clifton Hill. I think that'd be pretty
yeah,
funny.
yeah, that'd be amazing actually. But yeah, it would be a sight with all the colors and the lights and everything. So
That would look
it'd be
pretty
pretty
good.
neat.
Awesome photo
Yeah.
op. But let's take it right to the very beginning here, Baily. So how did you get into racing, and where did your how did you get started?
Really, it started like so. My dad started helping out with Gary Morton with the super modified back in the '80s at Oswego, and he eventually moved down to the Falls and got married to my mom and stuff and had kids, and then kind of shied away from the racetrack until I got a little bit older, and then we basically he wanted to get me into karts. My mom didn't want uh, me to get into the flat karts because they didn't have a cage. So we started looking around and found Oswego had the micro sprints with the cage and the wing and everything. So then we went down there one night and watched the races, and then I got out in a friend's cart, and that was pretty much it. The next week we went to the races and rented the cart, and pretty much the rest is history. We bought that cart and just kind of kept working our way up.
Talk about like the cart's trailer, because like if you go on Google Maps right now and you search Bailey's house, we can't say where it is, obviously. There's literally a picture of like his little cart in the little trailer out front, and they would just leave it there all day, not worried that someone would come by and steal it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, it used to be a 4 foot long trailer from Lowe's, just a little open trailer for basically for lawnmowers. And then we kind of fixed it up, put a toolbox on the front of it, and then stuck the cart in it. And that was what we used for a good number of years until we got like a little enclosed trailer for the open cart. And then after that, we bought the open trailer that we're using now for the Sprint. And then that's just what we've been using ever since. So we make it work. We make everything work with what we got and make it nice and homey for us. And yeah, that's all we really need, I guess.
Did you ever win in the micro?
Yeah, we had a couple wins in the box stock, and then we moved up to the 250s and got, I think, another 5 wins and the championship in 2016. And then, yeah, and
Oh
then
man.
did another year of that. And then that's when we bought the sprint car and kind of focus on that a bit more.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't know you were such a wheelman and then things.
So what? So why the sprint? Why? What was the appeal of that particular route of going down and going into sprint car racing as opposed to maybe modified or street stock or something else?
Yeah, well, like we were never in that modified scene like a lot of guys from Niagara are. We are always into open wheel racing, like the supers or the sprints and stuff. So that was kind of when we moved up to the open cart. That was kind of the next deal. You could either go that way or you can go whatever else. Modified, it just wasn't there, and it was just never something for us. Um, the sprint was something, a smaller car than a modified that we actually planned out and realized we could do it. And then once the crate series opened up, that's when we figured would be our best chance, kind of deal. So that's what we decided to do.
Yeah, and then like the super modified. That's another thing. Like you went and helped Dave McKnight with the Morton car still, and then that car still runs locally with the 360s, and they had a crate car as well. But like, talk about that family,
Yeah,
and then hanging out with them and all that stuff, and then having that awesome run at Oswego this year.
yeah, it was really neat. Like that's where I got into racing was with the supers. Right before we ever went to Oswego, that's where I started going. So, and it was always helping out with them with Gary and with Dave driving, and that was like 2012 ish, and then we just kind of kept it going, and then they kind of thought about going sprint car way or modified way, and we said, well, we're doing the crate sprint out of our shed, so you could definitely do it out of your shop, and trailer is what basically happened, and that's the way that they went, and they just kind of kept going with that just like we did, and we kind of did our own thing. But then yeah, supers was always something always something about the supers that we always liked going out and helping and seeing what they're doing. We've been to a lot of different tracks with them and helping them out, and it's been a ton of fun. So yeah, even like they hadn't raced for 3 years with the super, at least at Oswego, and went down there this year for Classic at September and went basically last to fifth. So that was with a borrowed motor, and it was a pretty fun time. It was just incredible what after seeing the struggles they've had with dirt to just go after 3 years, not at the track and just go out and get a top 5 just like that on a classic weekend was just insane. It was such a good time.
Yeah, did you guys do pit stop or did you go no pit stop?
Yeah, no pit stop. No, we just did a full 200 or whatever it was, and it was just insane. So it was
yeah,
a good time.
For people that don't know what a super modified is, it's basically like an asphalt version of a sprint car, except for it's extremely offset and they've got like almost 70% left side weight with the left side, the motor hanging off the left side and big, huge tires. And then there's 2 styles like wingless at Oswego and then wing style on the ISMA. And then like I just want to set up like your dad, Marty, back in the day when Gary Morton ran back and like how much, and he did all the bodies on it. And like back then they would literally watch the F1 races and see all the ground effect stuff, and then they'd literally change their bodies that week on the super modifieds and try to copy F1, and like just such an awesome time to be a part of for your old man.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he was just hearing the stories that he's been through with Gary, it's pretty amazing to hear, like they were even like the first car to even put a front wing on at Oswego, and they almost got kicked out of the race, so it was and then the next week they all had him on. So it was it would have been cool to see like all the different cars, and even now it's cool to see because they're all still different in each and every way, right? And they're making power, and they're fast as hell. So it's pretty neat to see still.
Yeah, they're definitely one of my favorite asphalt cars. That's no doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to take it back to Shrieken and running the Nationals earlier back in September. And you brought home rookie of the race or rookie of the Nationals in general, and picked up the extra $250 from Slack Lumber for that. So just talk to us about your experience in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Yeah, it couldn't have gone better for us. Like it was, the whole year was kind of weird. It was the first year out of Schwingen with the 360, obviously, and kind of struggled a lot at the beginning of the year, just kind of getting the setup kind of where we wanted it. And about like halfway through the season, it kind of came to us a little bit. We were making moves. We were going forward instead of going backwards. And so by Nationals, we got hooked up with our engine guy Al Blanchard with New Gen, and they and our guys Tom Hoopin and Andy LeBlanc, they wanted to put in Al's motor, which was had a lot of horsepower in it, and kind of see what we could do with that. And then we also had Nathan Eichlin helping us out a bit with the setup, and it just kind of everything came together, and the car was completely different and fast and just wild. So Friday night, I think we picked up 9 spots, and then the next night we picked up another 8 or 9 or something like that, and it just couldn't have gone better. We were going forward. It felt good, felt fast. We had a good setup in it, so everything was kind of hopeful for, just for the end of the race, and it worked out. So hopefully we can build off that for next season and kind of keep doing the same thing.
So are you feeling really confident after that run going into the next year? Is it one of those moments where you almost wish the season was starting maybe in September rather than having to wait until next spring?
Yeah, almost. Like we were doing so well at those both nights, and it was working out for us. So it was kind of, I wish there was more races, but at the same time, it was kind of nice because we could see what we did right and kind of build off of it. Motor wise, we know it made a big difference, and then just the setup too was just insanely different from what we were running all year, and I couldn't do it without all the guys that have been helping us out for the past year. a lot of good guys have been helping, and it shows. So
Yeah, I've been waiting to talk about this. It's like almost 2 months after, but like our party on the Friday night at the Nationals, we were the only guys. Like we were drinking and driving around in Gartley's Gator and like causing ruckus
yeah,
at
Curtis's Gator,
campgrounds and getting in
yeah,
trouble.
getting in
I want to
trouble.
give a shout out to Curtis Gartley because he told me that weekend. I've been saving this for Gartz because he's like listens every single Sunday, like in the morning with his daughter. He said so. Yeah, that was awesome. But like me and him were like the two old men. It was me and Gartley and Josh Hansen and you and oh no, why am I drawing a blank on her name? Gabby. Yeah, like your guys' ages
Oh,
barely added
Gabby,
up to
yeah,
mine. Like or
yeah,
just like you know what I mean?
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of young ones on there. Like it was a good time. I still got if Curtis is going to be listening, I still got his sweater from that night too because I was getting cold and I didn't pack
Yeah.
any clothing. So, but yeah, no, that was a fun night. It was. I'm surprised not a whole lot of people were actually
Yeah.
there, with us, but it
Everybody
was
going
still
to
fun
bed and
regardless.
gotta wake up early for the next
Yeah.
day and be serious. And Baily Heard out there drinking and then wins Rookie of the Year. No big deal. Rookie of the
Well, not
race.
rookie of the
Sorry.
year.
Rookie of the
Might
race.
not have, might
Rookie of the
yeah,
race.
might not have deserved rookie of the year.
Rookie of the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Close enough. It's
Rookie of the Nationals.
they don't
It's
ask
just
how,
as good
they
as
just
Rookie of
ask
the
how
Year.
many. And at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you had yourself a pretty good run.
Yeah, everything worked out. So it was might not have been fastest rookie, but we did pretty
Yep.
decent. So
Gotta finish
it
to win
worked
it.
out.
All right, Travis, do
Yep.
you have anything else before I ask our Corey LeJoy Memorial question?
Oh
here?
yeah. I was just so like you had a little bit of a rough time in 2020. Do you want to talk about that at all? And then like within that year where you had to sit out and you kind of got lucky, whereas the year you were out sick and going through your stuff, like we only did run 6 races, so you didn't really miss much. And then your decision at that point. So tell us about that, and then like your decision to go crates to 360s after.
Yeah, so like we were came out of 2019 and just all was normal and whatever, and getting ready for 2020 race season or whatever, and ended up needing some heavy surgery. So then went in there early summer for 2020, and then had to sit out for obviously that race season, which was a pretty big bummer because obviously I wanted to race and whatever. But looking back, it ended up being fine because a lot of people didn't run and a lot of racetracks didn't run, so it kind of worked out. As bad it is to say that, but it was still fun getting out to the races that we could. And then really about halfway through the summer, about fall time, that's when my crew chief Tom Hoopinen was getting out of it and wanted to kind of get rid of some stuff. And obviously he didn't want to part with his motor too soon or to give it away to anybody. So he basically only wanted to give it to us. So that's when we ended up buying it from him. And so it was kind of we didn't expect to move up at all like that. And especially coming out like 2019, we would have never thought to move up to the 360s, but everything just kind of worked out. And obviously racing a crate, that's where you want to end up, is the 360s. So everything just kind of worked out, and that's the route we took. And I'm glad we did because it was a lot of fun and I've learned a lot. And I think I've gotten uh, into a better driver kind of perspective, and just improving every time I go out. So yeah.
Okay, last thing, just talk about Tom a little more and what a big help he's been to your team since day one of the sprint cars, at least, and how you met him.
Yeah, so we were selling my first cart, and to move up, actually we were selling that to kind of get money for the sprint car. And so he came by and picked it up, and we were kind of looking at the sprint because we already had it at that time. And he said, well, we kind of already knew who he was and what he's accomplished and everything. So he offered to help. We live only 20 minutes away, so it's not too far at all. And he offered to help, and we obviously said yes because why wouldn't you if somebody like that was going to offer some help? So, and he's been there ever since, helping us out with the sprint right from day one. And I couldn't ask for more, because driving wise, he knows a lot about the car as it is, and the motor, and all the little things that you need to get by. And then driving wise too has just been a massive help. He's just taught me so much about driving itself, and all that fun stuff that goes along with it. So I definitely, we wouldn't be able to do it without him, and get this far without him either.
Yep. 2009 Oshweekend Sprint Car Corpac champion Tom.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, that's it.
Awesome. Well, we'll get you out of here on this one then, Baily. So I'm going to give you one track and one race car to drive for the rest of your life. Tell me the combination you're picking.
Well, there's a lot of different race cars that I would like to drive, and a lot of different tracks. But obviously, I'd want to drive a Super at Oswego for sure. That's a somewhat realistic goal. But if I'm going off the wall, I'd probably say I definitely want to try like a WRC car or something rally. I think would be super intense and super kind of fun, and it'd just be completely different than what we're used to here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather go like forest rally and be having to drive through crazy trails and elevation and all that, or are you going like Gymkhana style where it's like on a closed course that's a little bit tighter and a little bit more pack racing?
I think definitely a forest. That'd be awesome. At least playing them on Xbox is super fun. So it seems pretty gnarly. So I think that's something I'd want to try. But
save your pennies, buy an old Subaru, build another shed, and go run the Rally of the Tall Pines up by Brighton. Like, do you ever been to that? I've never been, but I know people who have.
I've never been there. I heard about it.
Me neither. We should go.
Yeah, I know. I'd be interested.
It's coming up, I think, at the end of the month. Literally go stand there in the snow and watch people whiz by, apparently.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. There's one every year. I've never been, but that's one I want to go.
I've heard there's some racing up there, and that in Quebec, but that's a little ways away too. But
yeah, I think Tall Pines is closest to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look at it then. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
And in the meantime, go and figure out how to win yourself a championship so we can get that sprint car rolling down Clifton Hill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna focus on winning a race first. That's the first thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, you win a race, and then you can go in like the Santa Claus parade for Niagara Falls or something, and then the championship. Then we're getting into Clifton Hill.
There you go.
That's how we're gonna do it.
That'd be all right.
All right.
Well, yeah. Good plan.
I'm gonna take a PR job for you.
Niagara Falls guys.
The Niagara Falls PR.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, thanks for taking the time and jumping on with us, Baily. This has been awesome, and glad to get to know you.
Yeah.
Glad to get another Niagara Falls voice on the podcast as well. So take care, enjoy the off season, and thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for having me, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Baily.
Cheers. Awesome.
And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe for future episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.